again, introducing you to my Dishonored, very hard difficulty video walkthrough. This is mission 1, escaping Coldridge prison, and this is the beginning of a pretty interesting and unique walkthrough on my channel, because what I'm attempting to do with this is very similar to the guide I made for Deus Ex, where I basically go through doing a heavily handicapped run where I should get you maybe 4 to 5 achievements in this single run through, if all goes to plan. And the achievements that we're going to be going for is one called Ghost, one called Shadow, one called Clean Hands. There's another one that mentions not using any other ability but Blink and not upgrading anything or using any of the talismans. I'm not quite too sure of the name of that one, but we will be doing that. And all of this is being done on the very hard difficulty. I wanted to say this was going to be done on the high chaos difficulty, but it turns out that high chaos has absolutely nothing to do with the challenged setting of the game. All that means is that the culture of the city is completely different if you're in high chaos, and the only way to get there is to kill lots of people. And obviously that's not going to work with this 0 kills, 0 alarms, 0 upgrades, difficulty run. So that's kind of obnoxious and a bit of a shame, because I do think that sounds like a pretty good challenge setting. And also, you do not get an achievement for beating this game on very hard, so against my better nature, you don't have to play it on very hard, and I would advise you play it on easy if you're just going straight for the achievements. If you want the challenge, you will find it on this difficulty. You die extremely fast, the enemies have really high sensors, and it's an interesting game. So I have to talk about a couple of complaints before I go into other variants of what you're watching here. And this is going to be like a tutorial video, because a lot of this is tutorial. If you're doing all the things I'm going for on this first video, the only real thing you need to bear in mind is that there is a room coming up where there are 2 guards guarding a door you have to blow up. If you do not knock those 2 guards out, you will effectively fail this mission every time. And I don't know why, it's just a problem in the game which I'm going to go into some detail with right now. So I've recorded perhaps the first 2 missions of this game, and the missions themselves are not that difficult at all. I've gone through these missions, I have done every single thing I tried to do, and I've come out on the other side of it with a seemingly flawless run, only to fail on the objective screen. And I had absolutely no idea why. And it turns out that there are certain situations you can put the game in that it doesn't seem to know how to handle. And instead of, just rolling with the punches, the system it's a binary thing. Instead of it just letting you off and giving you the full completionist, getting through the level, it fails you, and it fails you on mandatory things. And there are 2 occurrences that I bumped into. The first one is this room here. You can stealth past these guys, blow the door, get out of here very simply. I've done it numerous times, and it's the path through the level I originally took. The only problem is, at the end of the mission, it will say that you were detected, and it will say that an alarm was rung by these guys. It doesn't sound an alarm, it's nothing visual, it's just the game compensating for something it can't calculate. So instead, you want to take out these 2 guys. You can hide them in, I think they're like the dog kennels if you want. You don't have to. I left them. They do get found, but it doesn't jeopardize any of the statistics at the end. And it's kind of gay, man. It's kind of shitty. It's really, really shitty, because I did this mission about 6 times and I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong. And then I took these guys out for a change instead of leaving them, and suddenly everything was, perfectly fine. And that's bullshit to me. And it's happening on every level, so I do hope that the missions get more simple as I go through, because it's making me doubt myself when I play the game. And it's not because it's hard or because it's particularly challenging, it's because the game is literally robbing you from your well-earned achievements, essentially. And on the second mission, there's a very similar case where you lure the target and somebody you actually have to not kill for a side objective into a special chamber, and in that chamber you're supposed to take out the target but don't touch the other guy, and the other guy responds to you, he runs away, and then the guards are on like a state of alert. And that's the way you're supposed to go. Well, what I did is I actually knocked him out, then got the target, and the guards never went on a state of alert. I did the rest of the level perfectly fine, got to the end, and an alarm had rung for no reason. And I'd been detected when none of that even happened. And all of that was happening because I was knocking out this one pivotal guy that for some reason ticks off this invisible checkpoint that enables me to go ahead and get this rank. And it's things like that that are making this much longer than it needs to be. And I'm hoping that by explaining all of this in this first video to you guys, if you're trying something similar yourselves, you're not going to have the same problems I've had, and you're going to somehow get, away with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I might have just got unlucky, it might be one of those things where it kind of glitched for me, but it won't glitch for you. I'm not entirely sure, but it sucks, and it's a shame, because for all intents and purposes, Dishonored is probably the best game this year. And I say that with absolutely no knowledge of what came earlier this year, because my memory's pretty crappy at this moment in time, but this scratches a lot of itches that I have as a gamer, because it harks back to a lot of really, really good games, and the formula is complicated yet simple enough to be really, really user-friendly but still fun and tight, and it's one of the better stealth games that I've played on the 360, because the mechanics work, they're interesting, they give you a sense of both power and mobility, and the game itself is just fun. It's really fun. It does have its problems, there are plenty of finicky things, but to tell you the truth, I'm probably not going to go into any of them because I'm too busy having a lot of fun with the game. It's really good, and anybody who's on the fence, who's wondering what this is like, the mission structure is almost identical to the original Assassin's Creed. It's essentially, go to a hub area, take missions from that hub area that take you to an isolated place, then, betrayals occur, things happen, all that good stuff that makes a story worth playing through, and then you end up going for the final encounter. And every one of these missions that take place, this is one of them right now, is an isolated area of this world you can look in. And when you're in these missions, you've got the option to do side quests, you've got the options to find collectibles, or you can just go straight for the target. And the levels play out closer to a Hitman or a Thief game than they do pretty much, a linear stealth-based action game like a Splinter Cell, because there are numerous ways to do each encounter. I will be showing you the non-lethal way of dealing with the situations. I would definitely recommend you try the lethal ways and just some interesting ones, because there's so many things to play with, and there's a lot of little homages to other games of the genre, but it's been a while since we've seen them, so I think this is going to satisfy a lot of people, this game. Oh, be careful right here. The pattern on these two guards can be a little bit finicky. I did this maybe 7 times. This was the only time that guy was there, and these two had a little conversation and then they both turned around and I could carry on. But I have been spotted by this guy just out of fluke, because for some reason he decided to see me and other times he decided not to, so just be very careful. But because we are coming to the end of the video, I am going to try and quickfire some little strategies that I will be telling you and explaining in the rest of them. The first one is always crouch walk. You make far too much noise on very hard when you walk normally. You're just going to get hurt. It's going to give you some real bad encounters. And watch your heads up display. If you see some like lightning bolts come up on the screen, it means that somebody's aware of you. They don't know where you are, but they're kind of aware there's a disturbance. If you see 2, it's worse. If you see 3, it's even worse. If they go red, you've been spotted. Always pay attention to these little signs, and the music actually gives you cues when shit's kicking off, so pay attention to the sound as well. Next video I will talk more strategy, but there you go guys. We got both the ticks that we want, there was no kills, and we are on set now to go through the rest of the game doing exactly the same as we did here. So thanks for watching, I hope this guide helps, and you take care now.